Good afternoon, everyone. I hope I'm audible. Uh, Actually, I thought I was very lucky for having my session being postponed to after lunch. But then Milind also educated me on the risks of having a session just after lunch. But I think that risk sets in after half an hour, so I think my presentation will be done by that. So I'm going to be talking about, just to give you a background, what do we do? So Learning Catalyst basically runs these 6 to 8 week programs in various new media areas, right? So, this is a graphical representation of that. So whenever any company is marketing, is outsourcing web marketing or trying to build processes to do web marketing in-house, there are a very comprehensive set of processes and skills that need to be in place. So we deal with that, whether it is web marketing or the pages that need to be built before you start doing web marketing or mobile applications, for example. So we just specialize in that world, right? So just to give you a context of what we do, and we do this in 6 cities today. We have local faculty in each of the six cities that we operate in, supplemented by online courseware. And I'm going to be sharing my experience of using digital methods to run this business. I'm obviously, given the audience, I'm not going to be talking about marketing, but I'm going to be talking about my experience of, and believe me, there has been a lot of experimentation. So I like to listen to you guys also if whatever I've been doing, has it been in the right direction, etc. But when I say operation, I'm going to be talking about content development, assessment, learning management, these kind of areas, which are inherent parts of any training business, right? So it's going to be 4 years. I quit my last job in April 2008. And 4 years back, I thought that the more personalized, digital-driven approach would be our USP. So I'll just show you something which I had prepared when we were starting off. It might look like a boring Excel sheet, right? But this is something which I'm kind of very proud of because I made this myself. So I basically made 3 columns. I said, key aspects of the learning process. Then I said, what happens typically? We see a lot of people getting dissatisfied with training. And then the third column was how it happens at Learning Catalyst. And I actually put down things which will be possible if you use a more digital environment, right? So you'll see things in course content, document sharing, interaction time with faculty. So all these were things that I thought I would do differently at Learning Catalyst, and which would actually be a USP. Today, it's not, I don't call it a USP because it's turned out to be a standard expectation of students, right? The last thing that they ask before paying the fees is stuff like, okay, so you have good courseware, etc., tools, etc. It's come down to that. It is not a USP. In fact, to share with you guys, we even stopped putting that. So we had this tagline in our logo. If you like to learn but don't like to be taught, okay? Which represented a more individual digital learning method, but we just stopped using that because it wasn't making any sense. It wasn't differentiating us from others because it is a standard part of the offering, okay? So we've moved from, I think all of you know about Moodle. How many of you know about Moodle? Okay, some of you. So Moodle is the world's largest open source based learning management system. So we used Moodle for nearly 2.5 years before moving from this static page based environment to something like this, which looks like this. It's called share.learningcatalyst.in, and it's really our Facebook-like LMS which allows people to do a lot of things. So, of course, it has the traditional features of a student seeing the schedule, viewing course pages, etc. But what importantly allows you to do is social learning. So just as you can tag people on Facebook, so you can tag other students in the same batch, you can tag other students in studying the same course in any other city. You can tag a faculty and ask him to be a part of a certain discussion. So our courses typically happen only on the weekend. So there's the entire week where where learners can access content, ask questions, etc. So it's really changed the way things, the delivery was happened during the week. So what it gets used very often though is, and because we see what's happening, right? So very often people use it to check out new students across cities. Okay, check out who are the new students, what are the kinds of profiles which are coming in. Typically before the weekend, people will, direct message everyone and say, have you completed assignments, what is expected, etc. So that's kind of, it's very usual for people to start off using a social learning environment in this manner, okay? There was this question in the last session about the ROI of social media and this, right? We do a few corporate training programs, and very often in the middle of that entire training program, the chief marketing officer will just look at me and say, really, what's the ROI? Can I show something to my management about this? Well, the answer is yes. There is you can quantitatively show also that someone who's come from social media has spent so much time, has filled up a form, has transacted. So there is, we have this very hazy thing about social media because it's emotional, people-driven, etc. But if you're patient enough, you won't see actions happening in the next day, next week. You look at e-commerce, the main e-commerce guys, for example, they track social media interactions over 6 months, over 9 months, so that they can show reports to the management that whatever they're doing on social media has resulted in so much of traction on the website. So there is definitely a quantitative, a quantitative view to the ROI of social media. It's not hazy at all. The biggest reason this shift to a Facebook-like environment, the biggest reason why it makes sense is that we found that people are very comfortable. They're very comfortable using a Facebook-like environment. So when people enroll, we just say, we just say this, we just actually say this. Just as you log in on Facebook, why don't you log in to Share.Learning Catalyst? Make an account. They get it very easily. They see the interface, and it's very natural for them to start using it. Okay? As opposed to our earlier environment where we had to do a lot of hand-holding. Am I going fast? Is this fine? Okay, any questions, please interrupt me right now. I don't know if that's the way it happens, but for this conference, but I like to take questions when I'm at a particular slide rather than towards the end. Okay, so that was about Learning Catalyst. Outside, there are very exciting things which are happening. Okay, peer-driven learning, that's in. There's a very popular company called Udemy, and if you heard about it, they've been majorly funded. So when I say peer learning, that means there are no live sessions. There are a set of, say, 15 recorded videos made by very good faculty, and people have lifetime access to those videos. And of course, they have email support. But what is most important is that students can talk to each other. There is this peer level support which happens, and they can motivate each other to complete courses, etc. And if you look at what's happening, there are a lot of new companies in peer-driven who are having peer-driven learning products. It's very hot in the market today. Also, what is happening outside is there's very high quality open source content which is available. Okay? There are very big US universities having very detailed, structured programs in the area that you operate in, which is courses on web marketing, iPhone application development. Stanford, for example, has a very good, very detailed course which you can take out of sitting at home, and it deals with how to make applications for the iPhone, right? So these things are happening. It's it kind of makes us jittery, So if someone in the olden, like 3 years back, if someone used to ask us, there is a lot of content outside. How do you justify your fees? There's so much happening outside, right? And we used to say, our thing is more structured, okay? All that is humbug, okay? You can't make that argument. There are very structured courses online. It's not that it's only in the category that I operate in. It's going to be happening in all areas, right? Music, architecture, history, whatever, they are going to be very structured. It's going to be very structured content available online. So you've got to change the pitch. The business impact for this is that learners will demand for more result-oriented mentoring. In my business, it means support for getting them into freelancing assignments, support for getting them into full-time jobs in this industry. So that's the kind of support that people expect when they join your courses. Also, because there's so much of nice content which is free, what is important from an education provider's point of view is the assessment capability. That's something which is going to be a differentiator. When someone walks into your center, how do you assess at what level is he? Right? How do you assess at what level he is after, say, a week into the program? So that's going to be the key, because there is a lot of content out there. Also, I'm not sure how many of you agree with this, but at least in new media, there is building an IP around content is very, very difficult. Okay, we've tried doing this. We've tried these pure e-learning content-driven programs. We've not succeeded. Right? What we've succeeded are classroom programs supplemented by online courseware. So the rest of my presentation is around these three areas: assessment, content development, and delivery. So I'm obviously just going to be talking about some experiences. I mean, all of you are in the HR fraternity, know that there are a lot of web tools which are out there, and some of you have experimented with it, used it. Some very good things shared by Siddesh. I didn't know that, for example, a KBC themed game is being used by an Indian company. So very good things happening. So let's look at these three areas. First is assessment. So I'll share this with you that we, after 6 months after we started, we had actually a commercial arrangement with a very specialized e-learning company, which used to develop Flash-based modules for us. But I was very dissatisfied with this. Okay, and that's how it used to look. Visually it's all nice. It's engaging. But the big problem was that if I had to change the courseware, and which is a very normal thing, given the kind of topics that we deal in, this kind of a setup was very inflexible, right? We were just stuck with this. We had to build something, like if we had to add something to the 5th tab over there, it's very difficult, and you had to get in touch with the developer, etc. So, we actually stopped doing Flash-based modules. Also, if you talk about assessments, so when it comes to Flash-based assessments, these again are a part of the learning process, right? Again, if you have to add questions, it's very difficult to add questions to this kind of module. The whole assessment, if you look at modern assessment platforms, they are just like your course pages, okay? So it's a fact that your test pages need to be ever evolving. They need to be well categorized. Just like you have course pages, you need to have a test repository, which it's very easy for you to edit. Okay, so there should be a system where you should be able to upload questions or just submit an Excel sheet, and the tool just does the rest of it. Okay? And of course, it should support all these kind of question types. There are cloud-based systems. I have mentioned one of them. It's a product called Lionshare, which allow you to do exactly this. So you don't have to, people were talking about the need to start doing this in a week's time, right? This is something which you can start doing in a couple of days. Provided, of course, you have the entire question repository ready. You can have all these questions sitting on a cloud, and you'll be able to give a very good experience to the learner. Okay, coming to content creation, the open source learning tool market for e-learning has really exploded. There are a lot of options when it comes to choosing a tool for producing content. Google, in fact, launched a product some time back. we do this very often at Learning Catalyst. Whenever we, instead of just publishing a PPT, right? I really encourage faculty, the staff to make a PPT with a narration, okay? Because it just changes the context. The satisfaction is so much more if you can hear someone's voice with the PPT, okay? And it's, we tend to be very hesitant when it comes to recording, okay? So, if you have to record a half an hour, module, it's understandable that you have to be prepared, etc. But what we're talking about are 3-minute, 4-minute clips, which, if you're a faculty, you should be able to, right, talk for 3 or 4 minutes about a certain topic, right? So I'm talking about those. I've really tried very hard and to get into a mindset where we can quickly build these short modules, this PPT with narration kind of modules. Always think about how you're going to release snippets of your content on social media when you're making content. And it's something which has to be in your mind when you're preparing content. So immediately after you record something which is going to be a part of your e-learning repository, that you record like a 2 or 3 minute snippet of it at that point of time, which you can release on social media, and which is a great marketing thing, right? So ultimately, content-based marketing is one of the most obvious ways anyone in education can use to market. Webinars. So all of us know what webinars are. I'm just highlighting this point. Make sure your webinars are recorded, edited, and available to students, because it's otherwise just a set of things which is out there in someone's desktop. Whereas the kind of interaction which is there on webinars, you can't parallel that into a recorded video. There are live questions, there are concerns, all that is very useful to a new learner. Of course, it has to be edited, right? Because webinars, there'll be long gaps, etc. So all that you have to do. Okay, coming to delivery. Again, something which I really believe in, as people in education business, we tend to always underplay usability. It's all about content. It's all about, so this is the Yashwantrao Chauhan LMS portal, what I'm showing. And you can see how difficult it is for someone to, feel inspired about going and learning here. Okay? So even we actually have courses on web usability, but to tell you, in the last 4 years, we've not formed a batch for web usability, because people don't find it important. Web designers don't find it important to learn web usability separately. We do corporate training programs, about web design, usability, marketing. Web usability is like pushed to the last lot if there is time. That's the kind of importance. It's really sad sometimes, but you have to learn this formally and see how you can implement it. This is a really bad example of a LMS. Again, sharing something. In our 4-year journey, one fine day I said, I don't want to rely on a YouTube. I don't want to rely on a Vimeo.com. Vimeo is another competitor of YouTube, because you never know, they might start charging. It's not in our control, etc. So we try to build, have a YouTube on our own servers. And let me again share this with you. It is very difficult. It is very difficult to have this kind of videos and have a great performance for those videos if you're hosting them on your own server. That's probably the reason why Google paid such a huge sum to acquire YouTube, right? For such a huge sum, because YouTube had perfected the art of building a platform where the videos can be really played cross-platform. Right? The problem with R, when we tried it, was that someone said, it's not, when I'm opening it on a Chrome browser, it's not doing this. On the mobile, I'm having this problem. When he fixed the problem for a particular handset, someone with a different handset called us up. Right? So it is very difficult to build something which can play well on all devices. Of course, if you have the development team, you can, but that's not your main business. So just opt for platforms which have the R&D to make all this possible. Vimeo.com, YouTube.com, for example, are very good platforms. Forum design also needs to be taken very seriously. That's the part where it comes closest to a live classroom, right? And great forums always have these features. They're well categorized. People should be able to tag other forum members. Attachment should not be any problem. Of course, very involved members. We've tried getting our students involved on Facebook.com. It doesn't work. So maybe yes, if you are into 2-day programs, if you're into 1-day programs, and you are trying to build a community on Facebook.com, perhaps yes. But in our case, when we were dealing with careers, right, and when a lot of times people don't want to tell other people that they are doing a course, right? It starts from there. A lot of times people don't want to tell their colleagues that they're doing a course, etc. So what we've done is we again have a group, but that group is that's a private group. It's only on share.learningcatalyst.in. So what kind of interactions can go public is, we are building on the first point. We're building something around the first point, which is alumni interaction with current students. So if alumni need to interact with our students, that kind of interaction can happen on Facebook. Or something which is very short term, like an event, which is not very career related. That kind of interaction can definitely happen on Facebook. Webinars, very essential part of the delivery at Learning Catalyst, and someone whom I consider the best faculty, in the Learning Catalyst Bombay Center, he's actually told me that he's not going to do webinars, okay, because he just doesn't enjoy the process of speaking to a laptop, and I respect that. Not everyone is going to be very easy when it